Right, welcome back, everybody. Right, Jakey, the next thing we ask you about is, now we got your answers about your teammates, is who is your best 7 team you would pick out of everybody?
I think I did something like this the other week, didn't I, on the group? And I didn't really kind of have a deviated answer from everyone else. It was all quite similar. I think, like, if you're doing a 7 out of the current regulars, I think Sam's undoubtedly your keeper. I'll do like a little this little paragraph on each of them. But like Sam's like distribution is usually quite solid. Like he knows where I want the ball, but he'll know where like different players will want the ball. He can be quick with it. The one thing I hate about you, Sam, is when you're the opposition keeper and the amount of time wasting you do. You are the biggest time waster when you've got a lead and it's in the second half. Any time after 9:45, Sam is the best time waster when he's in goal. And I don't think it's a hidden secret. I think people just like, because it's you, Sam, you get away with it because everyone loves you. But like, I swear, that is the one thing that annoys the shit out of me, like from you, is the time wasting you do. And I never call out because I'm like, look, I can't snap at Sam. It's not fair.
I'm glad you told me. I'm still gonna do it, but I'm glad you told me.
I was about to say, you know you're doing it. Don't act as if it's like a thing that like you're like, oh, did I? I didn't. Like, you know what you're doing. Like, you're smart. Yeah, you little old Sam. Yeah, you know what you're doing. Anyway, I would love it if I was on your team, but like more often than not, I'm not, and it makes me fucking livid. So I just want to kick through you. But yeah, definitely you in goal. Everyone should know by now, I only need a back 2. I don't want 3 at the back, boys. It's unacceptable. We need to get rid of the back 3. So my back 2, I hate to say it to him, Abs has to go in my back 2 because he actually is the defender I hate playing against the most. Because he gives you no quarter. Like, he's a physical boy. In the tackle, like he's strong. And if you're trying to beat him, like trying to turn him, it's hardest to beat him. Like I don't like playing against Abs. Weirdly enough, though, again, I'm going to call Abs out. Abs, you're so much shitter when you're on my team. Like, he's fine when I play against him. He's class, and whenever I'm on his team, like we always end up moaning at each other. Like I'll call him out for like fucking up, and he'll like say, "Oh yeah, we didn't do that too," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, well we're bullshit." Like I don't understand what happens when we're on the same team. It never works. It's funny. I think who would I go alongside him? I can't remember who I said now. I wouldn't want Brown in the defence because I think he's got too much of an engine to be one of the back 2. And the problem with the back 2 is you need like one needs to stay the whole time and the other needs to be just ahead. So you can't really have people roaming. Unless you do like an insane tactic where you have like a back 3, but your 2 wing backs are like literally bomb on every time and then Abs is just on his own. But I think I do like Wowji in defence. Like, he's very reliable and sturdy and defensively hard to get around, hard to beat. I think the one thing with Wowj though is like he commits quite early, so like you can send him and you can do him. I think if he stood people up, he'd be even better. I think he's someone that like you can throw him a little. But the other thing is as well, I've never seen a defender who's in the opposition semicircle more than him. Like the guy is always ready for a diving header. And I'm like, I look back at my defence, I'm just like, where the fuck's he come from? Like, I'll have the ball on the left-hand side. He's made a run. He gets an engine out of nowhere just to bomb on, just to go for a back post header when it's not even on. And you know me, I can't resist. Like, as soon as someone's on the other side of the pitch, I have to ping it, even if it's not on. And it will watch it go off the other pitch up there. But Wowji, that's like, again, I love him as a defender, but as soon as he gets like delusions of grandeur, oh my Lord. It frustrates me because I then can't resist. I have to ping it. So, yeah. So that's my back 2. So that's 3 of them. I think the easier to stay up top is going to be Z on his own, because Z is literally unplayable when he wants to be. Like, honestly, like I remember the first, like, it was like not the last year, but the 2 years before that. Like every week, I'd be up against Z because it ended up being like me and one other good lad, like top tier lad, and then Z with one other top tier guy. And Z would just rip me and our team apart every time. There was that I can't even remember how long ago it was now. There was that period where he would just score like 8 or 9 goals every week, and he'd do the same thing. He loves hugging that left wing, cutting in, banging in, and he would do it. And like again, like this is when like there was a period. I don't even know if Z knows this, but like there was a period when we were like doubling up on him, and like we were having to say like, boys, like whoever's the right hand side defender, show him outside and go with him outside, and then the other defender's inside if he cuts in on you.
Yeah.
And so look, you double team him. And it had to become a tactic that we were employing when we were playing against him, because he was just scoring so many goals against us. Like the problem is, I don't know if it's like recent or due to injuries or whatever. Like the effectiveness of it has become less so. But I don't know if that's because he seems to become up against like Imzi and Shafi a lot, and I think Imzi and Shafi have improved massively as defenders, like just sole defenders, like one-on-one. Like they pocket Rish and Z a lot more now than they did historically. And I again, I don't want to give Shafi too much credit, but I think they actually do. That him and Ims have like been the best at pocketing Z and Rish in the last couple of years, more so than anyone else, more so than Welch and Abs, my two back line. So that's quite interesting. And then my midfield three, I think I have to include myself in this, right? And I want to be playing alongside Hardik with Bran behind me. And the problem with that is that, like, I think Bran is just so good defensively. I just don't know if he scores enough goals. So I think, again, as long as me and Hardik and Zia banging, I think Bran's okay doing everything in the first 2/3 of the pitch. Bran's just got the ridiculous engine, and like, I don't know, like in the on form, like he's on form, like in the last year. I love that he never turns up like fully fit. He's always pre-warned the group that he's touch and go. He's got a cough, or he's like, I don't know. He's always got a reason why he might not. He's like justifying putting his excuses in early, bless him. But like when he gets on the pitch, he's a hard tackler. He pisses people off. But like if he's on your team, you love it. I don't know if you boys even remember. There was one game. Actually, they're both in my midfield. Hardik and Bran like came to blows. And Bran was just like being his like reckless like kicking self, and he caught Hardik like one too many times, and Hardik just turned around and booted the guy off the ball. Do you remember?
No.
And I was like, fucking hell, like this is gonna come to a fight in a second. I'm gonna have to split up a fight, and I can't remember which one of them was on my team, but I was happy about like the passion and the tenacity was shown by Bran. I can't remember if he was even on my team or not, but I was like, if he did that to me, I'd just take it. But obviously, Hardik had just had enough and just booted him. Bran took it as well.
Bran is the Paul Scholes of tackling on Wednesday, mate. He is the worst.
He knows what he's doing.
Possibly, but yeah, I mean, if that's the case, then fair enough. But he's the worst tackler going, mate.
Oh, you don't want to get a kick from him. Like he'll give you like a bruised shin for a week or two. Like it's awful when you get tackled by him badly.
I don't remember this happening because Hardik is like Mr. Mellow. Like he's very, very chilled. He's like, Hardik kicked him after the ball went.
Mate, proper swung at him and kicked him, and then like they nearly came to blows. And they didn't have to separate it. Just like Bran, I think he knew Bran had like taken it like one step too far, and he was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll chill now." But,
I remember this. I'm so surprised.
No, it was brutal. I was in goal when the kick happened as well. Cause I remember it so clearly. And like it was a feisty match. Like obviously, like we've had a few feisty ones, haven't we? But that was like a particularly feisty one where Bran was just on one, just like being reckless. And that was what I loved about him as well. Though, if he's on your team, like it's fucking great. But if he's against you, it's like fuck off, man. Like you're such a busy bastard. It's at midfield, like breaking things up. And like again, he's got such an engine. He's up and down. And, like, that's why I don't like him in defence, because he's now got his passing down, and his positionally, he's intercepting, and all of that is all like upper level from where he was a few years ago. So I'd love having him in my team. And again, like it's not because of his goals; it's because of everything he'll do behind you. Yeah. Which means, because again, like just being like the snobby elitist prick I am, like I always kind of feel like I need to do every job. So I need to be back in defence, like doing the defending. I can't trust anyone but myself over myself. But then, like when you've got people like Bran behind you, you're a little bit more confident, like that you don't have to do it all. And like you can go. And again, same as up top. Yeah. I think I've licked Hardik's ass. I think I've licked Hardik's ass enough. But yeah, Hardik's.
It's clear to see why you have him in. So, am I right in saying that's your formation, sort of? So you've got your goalkeeper, you've got your two defenders, you've got Bran sitting just in front of him, and then you've got you and Hardik in the middle, backing up Z up top by himself.
Yeah. So you boys might remember my white boys that like we played like once or twice. So we play another group of Asian lads and their level is exceptional. So like a lot of the time, like the difference between it is like the tactical side. So you actually have tactics in sevens, which is again a whole conversation for another day. But like sometimes I'll play that formation that I've just done, and then other times we'll totally change it up and we'll have 2 deep liars, and then we'll have a false 9. So like everything, and it'll be like a Shanu roll, like everything just bounces off to him, and so you're shooting from a little further out, but they'll play with a back 3, expecting you to play lots of attackers, and you actually just play more midfielders. So it's that kind of aspect. So like actually, I think people like me and Hardik could play deeper if we needed to change it up. Which is, I think that's the great thing about a Hardik, is that actually you could put him anywhere in the pitch, and he could understand and do a class job. I think Brown obviously could do defence. I think like again, like a lot of people are ball players now. Like a lot of people got that confidence in ball play, but I think in that middle third and that last third, I think only certain people are like able to excel, and I think that's where like you have your match winners, don't you? So
yeah, like that. I quite like that team actually. It's interesting. It's something different.
It's a chunky team, man. It's got quite a force to be reckoned with. And a lot
I think like Tekka's over like speed and like precision, right? Because in the end of the day, I think like if you're defending well as a unit, like you'll be hard to break down, and so you just got to like just be outrunning them and be a little bit smarter. And I think those boys in that team are smarter. Although I must say, I've just thought of it actually. I'm so glad that we banned slides, because Wowji was the worst fucking player for slide tackles. I hated being against that boy when we had slides, because you knew if you showed the ball to him for half a second, like this guy came in kung fu style and was clearing you out. So I'm glad he would be in my defence, but in the slide tackling era, he would not have made it in, because he would be overcommitting right, left, and centre.
Yeah,
I've got a lot of feelings and things coming up to talk about the slides. I think that's enough. And to be honest, I want a whole new episode with Jake talking about slides, talking about and then hearing about these tactics that are involved in sevens aside, because obviously we don't do that as much. We turn up and we play. There's not that much prep going into it. And it's not a competition. So I'm interested to hear in the tactics side of things as well. So, but unfortunately, that's a whole new episode for a whole new day.
Another day.
But
yeah, nice team. I like it. Apart from your centre back.
One week we can set that up as a team maybe, and see, you can put any 7 against that and see how you get on.
Yeah. I said, look at centre back, mate. I'm sure I wouldn't fare too badly at all, but to
be fair, I will say, like your guy, your keeper that you brought on, Crook. I loved him as a keeper, but like actually his distribution was so good it was bad, in the sense that like he was able to pick you out anywhere on the pitch with an underarm throw, but he would do it so quickly, and he wouldn't communicate. So I prefer it with Sam's, because I know Sam well enough to know how I'm going to get it, where it's going to come, like how I can. And Crook was a great shot stopper as well, like very not underrated at all, but like give him props. And I think Alex as well, the lad that you've brought along, he's a fucking class player, great player. Like again, I don't know where his best position is, because he can do it everywhere on the pitch as well. But he would probably actually make it in my defence, replacing one of those 2 lads as well, potentially, if we were counting him.
Yeah, very good player. I think actually he come up in the group quite a bit yesterday, because I think we're campaigning to try and get him in the group. So he's a bit more regular.
I saw an Instagram video of him. I saw the video with the chat about it. Like, he has been a regular, and he turns up. He doesn't make enemies. He's a nice guy, and he's a great player. Like, he's solid.
Good player.
I need more character and personality from him, though. No one even knows him. I want to see the passion. I want to see the colours.
There's a little bit there, but to be honest, some days the same, mate. He just goes about his business, does his job. Everybody's happy. So
fair enough.
That's as much as you get from him, I think, to be honest. So yeah,
he feels like he's just like a Russian spy with no surname. Like, I don't know anything about him. That's exactly how he wants it. No one knows any more than that. His name's Alex, and that is it.
To be honest, he's got so much quality that he allows all his football to do the talking for him. he doesn't really need to kind of have that other aspect to him, because he just, I'm here to play football, so that's what I want to do. Not in a, like in a snobbish way, you know. And I had a conversation, I found up a little bit about him, and but ultimately it was just about, I just want to play football. That's all I want to do is play football. And let's put it this way.
Fuck you, Sam. I don't want to talk to you, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been that as well. But he seems like a lovely guy, and he's a quality player. But I agree. Let's put it this way. He won't be coming on the show anytime soon.
No.
That'd be a short episode. That'd be when you want to fill a gap.
We'll have to put half of your one in with him.
That's fair.
So that's Jake's 7.
Yeah, lovely. Right, Jake, we've got some questions for you now.
Good.
Let's see how you get on with these.
I hate talking, as you can tell, so this is going to be hard for me.
Yeah. Right, first one. We got to ask about your lateness. What's going on? You're one of the local legs. You've got a thing with turn up late to absolutely everywhere. And I'm going to say, before anybody else starts giving it the Billy Big Bollock, because I'm awful with my timekeeping. Not for Wednesdays. I'm good for Wednesdays normally. But, Jake, you have killed me on every other aspect of being late, mate. On a night out, you come like 2 hours later, no problems, mate. Just swans in. It's like it's never been missing sort of thing. Wednesdays, the same. The only thing that saves your bacon is Shanu's just as bad. So what's the crack?
That's why I love Shanu, mate, because Shanu will turn up same time as me, but in jeans. So I always get away with it compared to him. But yeah, like as you just said, like I'm late at everything in my life. Like I'm late. I'm late to nights out, late to work. I'll be late to my own funeral. Like I am awful at timekeeping. And the worst thing is, being so local literally counts against me, right? Because if I had to travel, I would be making more of a conscientious effort to get there on time. But knowing it's just around the corner, I'm like, oh, it's cool. I can watch this game or do this and I'll get away with it kind of thing. But like knowing that I've got to get like just 10 minutes down the road, I think, oh yeah, it's fine. It's all good. So yeah, it is a bit awkward. Like hands up. I'm always one of the last 2 or 3 every week. I know that. I'll call them out as well. Z, Shanu, it's usually us 2. Shanks is always pretty bad. I'm in that with you. I'm in with you, brothers. Like that's us. Like that's our role, right? And the worst thing is, I'll tell you what. Like a lot of the time, it'll be because I'm watching a football match. That'll be my usual excuse. I'll be watching a football match. The other reason, though, is so I tend to eat my dinner on a Wednesday after football. And so what I do, and again, I'm going to blame Addy for this. I've got the Addy situation, whereas I like a pre-match turd, and I'll go at home, and it always just goes a bit longer than I plan. Like you always just sit there with your phone, and my phone is my devil, mate. If I'm sitting there with a phone and I'm pre-match, like it could go on a little longer than planned, and then that's where the time gets away from me there. So I'm going to blame myself. I'm taking that. I'm owning it, but there are reasons afoot. It's not because I don't respect you boys enough, but I apologise. I am always attempting to be on time.
All right, Sam, you got the next one?
I was just going to reassure Jake that if Imsy wasn't giving me lifts every week, I would be one of those late boys as well. I'm late everywhere, so I can fully relate to that. But luckily,
mate, no one wants to be the first one in the pub standing on their own. You look like a melt, especially if you got to Power League and you're like standing outside like a bill on your own. Not happening. Like, I'll be more encouraged though if we get there and like there's another pitch we can like kick around on. Like that's fine. Like, I'm all up for that. Yeah. But like even on football training on a Thursday and like another days in the week, I'm always last there. But on a Sunday, that's the only time I'm on time. And it's because I don't know if you know where I live, but I literally live a 2-minute walk from Palmerton. So to drive there, it takes me 30 seconds. So even if I'm late, I'm on time. So that's the only thing I'm ever on time for is my Sunday mornings because I'm the gaffer. But that's it.
You're going to lead by example.
Well, in some sort of way, yeah.
Okay, Jake, next question is, there's no doubting your quality, your ability. And again, after the first time I saw you play, and I got your number in my phone, your name, I didn't know your last name, so it was just Jake and Baller. That's what it was because of your quality, because of how much of a ball you were. But and it seems to have increased as of late, the rugby shots, the rugby kicks to clear not sometimes just one pitch next to it, 2 pitches.
Mate, that's happened like one time. One time I cleared 2 pitches. One time.
I didn't think it was possible from the space that you're shooting at as well. So what's going on?
The worst one was the worst one was when Ryan bought a brand new football. He only bought that like day or the day before, and the match hadn't even kicked off. This was like pre-warm up, and I absolutely zinged it into a thorn bush, and it was gone. Like that was it. And so at the end, I had to go get it, and I couldn't find it. But we found like another brand new ball, so they ended up with a more expensive brand new ball from that. But they never got to play with the actual ball they bought because I lost it before we'd even set the game in motion. That's the worst one I've ever done. Although there was a period, I think it was 2 balls in like a whole summer. Like I sent over, we were like, oh, we'll get at the end of the game, and then we turned around and they've been stolen.
Yeah, and there was no one else around. Like who took it?
Mate, there was some sneaky pitch like 2 pitches over. I was fuming. But like that was since that day. Like if you notice, I'll always trot round and get mine up straight away because I'm adamant now. I can't be feeling the guilt anymore of losing, like getting another ball stolen because of my actions. But this is all like political. This is all our political like way of just like turning away from the actual question and just be saying, yeah, I felt bad about kicking Ryan's ball over and ball getting stolen. Let's move on to the next question.
Right, next question I've got for you. That's been brought up fucking every podcast so far, I think, is what did you think of when Malik got kicked out of the group? And more importantly, where was you when he got kicked out? Because you were meant to be, you brought him in and you didn't say a bloody word when he got kicked out.
Oh, I thought you meant like Michael. Where were you when Michael Jackson died? Like I remember it like clear as day. I was standing in the bar, the pub in Watford. No, when Malik joined, right? I disagree with you, Az, because we did need players. Because trust me, I wouldn't have been asking Malik lightly. Malik is like, out of everyone I know, he's not one of the better players. I will say that, right? And so I play with him on Fridays. I don't think any of you boys have played with him on Fridays, but the level I play with on a Friday is probably a little less. It's more varied, but it's a little lower than what we play on Wednesday, right? And it's a lot of lads who play football recreationally as it's not competitive, it's just enjoyment. So I treat it as like a fitness thing and just fucking lash a few balls in. But Malik's someone who like didn't know how to play football himself. Like when he only came to the country like 10 years ago, something like that. So like he's learned from then, and so like I think I've got kind of like a soft spot in my heart for him in the sense of he's one of my best mates. I was his best man, but I've literally grown up with him, playing football with him in the last 10 years and taught him how to play football a little bit. Like coming from nothing to play like the level even he does, I'm quite impressed or proud of that. But obviously coming into a level like we've got, I think some people are a little bit more less reciprocal about it, and they've got no like allegiance to him, right? So like they just go, oh, he's a shit player, fuck him off. The bit that bothers me, right, is the no, actually it doesn't bother me, but like the bit that like surprised me about the way it was done was like I think the point was he isn't good enough to be in the group, so let's boot him out and let's get other good players in. And again, like it's your boy, not you personally, but the royal you. It's all of our thing. Like if we don't want someone in who's not one of us, then like we've got no reasonable right to put him in. So like fuck him off, right? I think it was the way it was done though was a bit like. It was like the first couple of weeks was a bit shit, and like I think Im's had to message him privately and like tell him like, "Oh, you're just not good enough," kind of thing. And I think he was just a bit upset by that. But I think the problem was the way it was done was a bit like backhanded because for a start, he definitely wasn't worse at the time than some of the other players on the pitch. And like in the games that I was with him, I saw him put in some performances. Like again, he was on my team a lot of the time, being my boy. And I don't think he was any like. Again, I know how to use him. I know what his strengths and weaknesses are. But I think he's quite robust. So like defensively, you can look after him quite well. He can look after your team quite well. And I was all right with him. And then like the week after, everyone was moaning about him. I would just be able to like destroy the other team's defense. And I'd be like, well, they've just played shit. The fucking Malik did. And I think it was literally the week after we booted Malik. Like we won and we absolutely turned over the other team. And I can't remember what I was talking to about after the game. I was laughing. I was just like, if only they had Malik at the back. So I think actually, like, again, it's kind of like a combo of him not being one of our boys and just be like, oh, it's just more hassle than it's worth. And he didn't help himself though. Like, I told him firsthand. Like, I was like, you're the idiot who's, I think, what was it? His second game, he caught the ball in midair.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
I was like, what are you doing, you fucking idiot? And then, like, the game that I think ruined it for him, I wasn't even there for it. I think I couldn't turn up. So which goes to show, like, he filled a hole even when I wasn't there. But, like, I think him and Shafi came to blows about something.
I think the handball happened the following week, and it was twice in one game the following week, which didn't help.
Yeah. I mean, like, fuck me off if it was some random doing that. I'd just be like, what the fuck, mate? Like, I would be fuming. Like, I think actually your player Johnny is that to me. Like, in the sense that, like, sound enough player. Like, he's not great, he's nothing special, but like, he's all right. But it was he kicks fucking lumps out of people. And the 1 week he got touched, he complained and whined, and I straight away went at him because I was just like, mate, don't even fucking start with that. But I think that's what Malik obviously he'd antagonised and got in people's heads, and as soon as then Malik gives it to someone else, everyone was ready to gun it at him, and so he had enemies and no friends. And again, so I understand that he had to go, and then the problem was the pile on afterwards in the group chat was fucking ridiculous. Like, I don't know how sincere Rich was being, but like, I was totally in agreement with what Rich was saying, in the sense that, like, A, there's shitter players, B, he didn't have to deal with it in the way everyone dealt with it, and C, like, we were all taking for granted the fact that actually he made a game happen because he wouldn't have been playing if we had other players. Do you know what I mean? So he was in because we needed him, and he was doing a favour. But I mean, yeah, look, we could have got other players. We have got other players since then, so it's not even a thing anymore. Like, I remember back in the day, the one that got pushed under the rug a lot worse was Jabs. So Jabs, obviously undeniably class player, had a little tantrum and took his ball and went home. But that was all over, I can't even remember what. There was a lot of underlying tension with that one. And then everyone kind of just, like, dismissed it and was like, oh, fuck that one off because that's a bit of drama. But I thought that was as big a drama as this. But look, this was obviously more recent.
Yeah, I think, I can't remember the Jabs one completely 100%. But I think there's a lot more stuff that happened on other footballing days with him, which probably stemmed from what happened there. But so just to confirm then, so you agreed with Rish, but he didn't get involved. Was that just because you were maybe emotionally attached and didn't fancy it, or what was the crack?
Well,
we're not back?
It was a lost cause though, wasn't it? Like, at the end of the day, he's gone, and like, I'm not going to try and fight. Like, you know, like, it's a shame that he couldn't play with us. He was always available, but like, at the end of the day, it's the greater good. If you boys don't want him on, like, it's not like worth my kicking off, going, oh, fucking hell, you're all dickheads kind of thing. Because again, I get it, and again, I've just said it from, if I was on the other side of it, I'd probably feel the same. I think it was just like the way it was done wasn't that good, and I think, as I was saying in the beginning of the podcast, like, someone like Malik, I've got like that personal attachment to him because I've like coached him like from an X to Y point, and I think, like, if there was anyone that was coming along, like, Josh is a great example, like your lad Josh, like, I love having him along, but he does. Boy's he's got thick ears, he doesn't listen, but I love having him there just so I can, like, see him improve and coach him through it. But like, so like, when he has a shit week, which has happened, you don't just go, oh, fuck him off, he's shit. Like, you want to, like, improve him and bring him on. And like, Kaz and his brother were exactly examples of that, like, players who, like, they were reciprocal to, like, you giving them advice, like, they were like nice guys. Like, Malik was a nice guy, and they didn't do anything to annoy, so actually they were less annoying than Malik. So again, like, those kind of people, you wanted them to come back. Like, there's not, I can't think of anyone else we've ever had to kick out, which is obviously a good thing. And I don't think Malik was a dickhead and pissed people off that much. I think obviously once you clash heads though with Shafi, like, you ain't getting back in favour, are you? Like, the hierarchy there, you picked the wrong cat to fall out with. So
agree.
That's why I think Josh is on his last legs, mate, because Shafi's obviously got to be in his bonnet about that.
I can promise you now, whatever Shafi says about one of my lads, he's got no fucking hopes. He can go and fuck himself. No, same. I was going to mention little Josh, because he only joined our 11s team maybe just before Christmas. So again, we've not had him really long, not had a lot of sessions with him, but even from his first 7 games Wednesday when I got him into the last one before we stopped, even that short period, you can see. And the kid's only 17. So
well, that's the thing. He's a great age to kind of work on because he can improve massively, and he's got a great physical attributes. So I think actually he lets himself down. Again, football intelligence isn't going to be there because of his age, but like his technical ability is there, but he doesn't use it properly. Like he can come on a lot though. He'd be a great player. And I think again, I don't know where you play him on a Sunday, but like defensively, he's quite naive. So I think he works as a DM much better. But yeah, like he's a good little lad.
yeah.
But I just love. I saw a thing from Shafi the other day. He was saying like he was triggered by him still, and again that goes to show the other side of it. So like Shafi's obviously never played 11s, and he fucking wouldn't survive if he's got that attitude. Whereas Josh kind of just like fucked it off and was like, "Get the fuck off me!" And like Josh, as a 17-year-old playing men's football, is a lot more impressive than playing with us. But like if Josh has had it at like men's football, like he won't even think twice about that Shafi incident. Whereas Shafi's hanging on to it.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? That's exactly true. That's a good way of putting it, to be fair, because he won't think about it the next day, whereas Shafi's fucking 5 months later has still got it into his head sort of thing. So, yeah, that's spot on. But,
mate, Shafi's had a baby in the last 6 months, and the biggest thing he can remember is that time when he got into a scuff with a 17-year-old. He had verbals with a kid.
Yeah, exactly that. No, that's spot on. But I can't
even remember. We could get another 5 paragraphs about that.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, good kid. He'll come along quite well. So yeah, I had something in my head, but I forgot now. But yeah, no,
sorry, that's
just
my fault.
The same sort of thing as where to place him on 11s and all that. Me and you could talk about this shit for fucking days, mate. To be honest, so we better not waste no more time on it. But yeah, he's a good player. Hopefully he'll come back down as well because he's been quite regular recently as well.
It will be interesting to hear, kind of like, obviously. I mean, we're going to talk briefly about it after the break about we talked about it already, both your 11-side experiences and managing and coaching and playing. So we'll come to that in a moment, and I'm sure Shafi will be typing in the group now. And Shafi, I'm sure will at stage have a to come put forth why he feels the way he does about the Josh situation. And again, I don't know the full story, so I can't contribute, but we've got to give Shafi his time, and even Josh give him his time as well if he even remembers the situation. So
do you know what my dream is? You know how, like, again, I don't know if you boys are going to do it, like the idea of like putting 4 people up every week and everyone's got to nominate like who they want on the show. Like my dream is that Shafi goes up every week and never wins ever. And so we're way past lockdown. And it's like October, and Shafi's like the only one in the group. Everyone's going around a second time before Shafi even gets his first word in. That's the dream. That is the dream.
That would be quite funny. Well, what other questions you had?
Yeah. Well, as just before we do, we're going to go for a quick break, and then we'll hit Jake with some more questions. Back after this.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Right, Jake, the one thing I was interested to, because obviously I know you've done a lot of travelling, but what I wanted to know is, because whenever I see you, it's always football-based pretty much, and obviously, as you know, our circle are not always the most sociable at times, so it's hard getting out and about as well, so it's not always something that's been brought up, even between me and you, and we know each other outside football, but...
I love getting on the lash as well.
Yeah. But how long was you travelling for? Where did you travel to? I was more interested in that sort of stuff.
So basically, I broke up with my ex-girlfriend, and that whole next year was pretty shit. Cause like we had the same social circle, and we all like wrapped in each other's lives, and she lived down there and everything. So I was just like, I need to get the fuck out of this country. Let's like run away from my problems.
Yeah.
And there was a girl who I worked with called Rosie, who also wanted to go travelling. She was young, and she was just like doing the gap year thing. And she just wanted to go to Australia. And I was like, yeah, I could jump on board with that. But actually, if I'm going to go around that side of the world, I'd rather kind of hit a few spots on the way. So it materialised from doing like Thailand, Australia for 3 months. We ended up doing a whole year going around the world. And the way I mapped it was so that we literally followed the summer around the world. So we started off in Asia.
Yeah.
Did India, China, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Laos, Indonesia, bopped down to Australia and New Zealand. And I lived in Australia for like 3 months. Just again, we didn't even do half the country because Australia is just so vast. It's insane. It's got no culture, but it's just class. But actually, it got to the point where I was actually getting bored of going out in the night, waking up the next day, having a barbecue, going to a different beach, wave riding or surfing or whatever, and having another party, a barbecue that night. And like literally, we went to a different beach every day, and it got boring after a while. It was ridiculous. So, good time to move on. We moved to America, and this is where I'd obviously I timed it so that we got to America just after my birthday. So on my birthday, I was in Fiji swimming with sharks, and then the week after, I was in America, and we started on the West Coast, pardon me. Worked our way down to San Diego from LA. LA was ridiculous as well. Like, I've been there a couple of times, but this particular trip was just insane. Worked our way across the border from San Diego, went down to Mexico for a spring break, came back up to, and then across the whole of the south border of America. So like all of those states like Arizona and New Mexico, all of that. And it's quite sparse. It's like there's not much there. So like actually what was happening was we were going to motels and then going out in the evening there and then moving on to the next town. So it was just a piss up every night. It was just insane. Anyway, worked our way back through America, Vegas, worked our way over to New Orleans because I went to WrestleMania in New Orleans, WrestleMania 30, which ended up being the one that Undertaker lost his first ever WrestleMania match to Brock Lesnar, and that was Daniel Bryan's one that he won. So it was a fucking insane WrestleMania to go to as well.
Wow.
And then so then just the week before that, I had a car crash that nearly killed us all as well. Totaled the car, and again, if you ever see me doing that, it's me clicking my neck out because I have all this tension and shit in my neck from that car crash. We were lucky to live. We got sent 100. We got sent 100 meters down the motorway from static by this 4T. If you know what they are, they're the big fucking pickup trucks. Back rear-ended us and just sent us. Anyway,
I remember that story, when you was away.
So I had my feet on the dashboard and I got crumpled up so bad that I cut my big toe with my teeth. It just crushed me up. And my mate was on the parcel, he was sleeping on the parcel shelf and he got pinned in because it crushed the car and he was pinned in. Yeah, but the worst thing was the guy got arrested as well and got sent down for 5 years for it. Yeah, it was all pretty intense, but we all not scratching any of us. It was ridiculous. Anyway, moved over then to South America. So did Peru and was moving down to Bolivia. So this is the year of the World Cup, right, in Brazil. And I'd not only booked accommodation for Rio, I'd secured two tickets, for the Italy-England game, which was if you remember, it was in Manaus, which is in the north of Brazil, in the jungle. So we secured those tickets late on. But then the two people I was with both had to go home. So I was on my own, which is fine. Didn't have a problem with that. But the accommodation in Brazil was either all entirely refundable or not refundable at all. So the people, because it was so expensive because it was the World Cup, we had to cancel the accommodation because the other two needed their money back. They had to go home because they had no money. So I had no accommodation in Brazil, and to get accommodation, it was like £150 a night. And then the flights from Rio to Manaus to get to the Italy-England game would have been like 500 plus, and then accommodation up there would have been another 200 a night. So just that it worked out that I would not have been able to afford it. So I ran out of money as well, and I had to come home when I was in Bolivia. So I never got to travel the rest of South America. But the worst thing was I came home, worked for 2 months. Well, less than I didn't even work. Came home, took out my ISA, and then went traveling around Europe with my girlfriend. So did Finland, Estonia, Croatia. Lived on a boat. Pardon?
Your current girlfriend?
Yeah. And then we lived on a boat for 2 weeks and stuff. And it was So that was it was all pretty insane. That was all in the space of 1 year. And then every year now we do a big old trip. So I think you boys have seen I've done Sri Lanka, Maldives, Morocco. We do it all shoestring, backpacking, traveling style.
Yeah.
Like never like those flush hotels and stuff. Like we do it cheap and like I wouldn't say live like the locals, but we go and see the sights and do the things that like, you know, off the beaten track stuff and like not the really touristy stuff. Like we've done touristy weekends in Rome and we've done like an all-inclusive in Cyprus and stuff. But like I think my most impressive thing is like my country count. I think I'm up to over 50 now countries that I've visited.
Wow. That's serious, mate. That's some serious business. That is.
But I mean, like again, we're at a luxury. Like and you guys have probably seen it as well. Like you've seen the other side of life. Like we are the privileged, blessed ones in life. We've got disposable income. We've got luxuries, and like we've got first world problems that like other people have never even experienced. And so like it would be really stupid and dumb of me not to maximize that opportunity in terms of taking advantage of going and seeing the rest of the world, right? Like again, I can preach it as much as I want. I don't maximize my life at all. Like I'll sit on my fucking PlayStation mostly through lockdown instead of like doing whatever. But like we've got that disposable income. The world's there to be seen. You only get one go round, so you might as well give it your best shot and enjoy it for yourself, because there's no point looking at everyone else's pictures and thinking, yeah, that looks pretty nice, that's pretty swish. Like the memories and the stuff that like it hits with you inside and like lives with you is like irreplaceable, and like you can't tell someone about that. You can only live it, you know.
Yeah. What would you say was your favourite place?
Most beautiful place I went to was Fiji. Like aesthetically, because it's just all like paradisical. It's like obviously because it's on the other side of the planet, so no one really knows about it. But like the most beautiful place naturally was actually New Zealand. There and Montenegro are the two places that I've been that like are just outstanding in terms of like their actual aesthetics. I don't know, like Indonesia's pretty cool, and like culturally, I think China's like a revelation, but you can't really enjoy yourself to the same extent. Whereas India was the first country I went to, and like so without going into too much detail, like I basically like the year after I broke up with my girlfriend was like hellish. I was like in depression. I was like really struggling. First place I landed is in India. Like land in Delhi, and just like I'm seeing kids like who've got like bin liners for like diapers and clothes, who are like playing with rocks in the dusty old dirty street, and they're like laughing and smiling and stuff, and I'm like there moping because it's too hot. And it's just like it puts life in perspective for you straight away. And like going to somewhere like India is just the biggest eye opener you'll ever get in your entire life. And you know, like I did a homestay in Vietnam where you live in like a concrete breeze block building with no insulation, no like cushioning or mats or anything, and just like seeing how they live. And like same in Peru, like live with farmers in Peru, and it just like gives you a whole understanding of life. Like it's bigger than like this falls that I'm in now and how easy we've got it. And so actually saying that like Peru is pretty special, and I did the Inca Trail, and going up to Machu Picchu and stuff is like doing the actual trail. It's like a 3-day hike. And that is like, that was as well that's one of the like, look back at your life, that's one of my like crowning achievements that I did that, just because of how incredible it was and just how cool it was.
And the last one I had for you is obviously it's quite well known now about your collection of tops. How many football tops do you think you got, and how many different countries have you got?
So I don't know, I'm going to tip the laptop down there. So that is a pile down there. It's 2 whole piles. Those are the ones I've worn most recently. There's about 20 shirts in each pile there. Then if I open this drawer up, that's again, let me see if that shows up on screen. Is that on screen?
No.
It's gone black.
Yeah,
there we go. So that's a drawer of another about 40 shirts as well. So like I'm obviously an avid shirt collector. So I don't think I've got 100, but I've got like not far off it. And again, obviously this is adult shirts. Like all of my shirts from my childhood got thrown away just because, well, they're up in the loft, but they've probably been thrown away by my parents now. But obviously I don't know why you haven't asked me about the Man United Watford thing, but like growing up, obviously I had every United shirt, like home, away, third every year, and like every England shirt I've ever owned and stuff. And so yeah, they probably will be thrown away, but I've got a pretty sweet shirt collection, which I absolutely love. And so like, I've got a few rules, like you try and not have more than one from each team. I don't get my enemies. You don't get any English Premier League clubs. don't do other international teams. So I've got some weird like superstition stuff. And then you want to go for like the classic ones though, right? So you want to get like, you don't want Atleti's away shirt. You want like their home red and white stripes. The same with Juve. The same with like, you want the like the Ajax shirt. Like you want the red and white on it and stuff. Like those kind of things. So you want like the classic.
Why do you buy them? Why do you like what kind of started? Oh, I'm gonna get this one. I'm gonna get this one. I mean, as like for example, the most recent ones I bought. I haven't got much of a collection at all, but the most recent ones I bought, I just bought them purely for the aesthetics. I bought the Roma kit purely because it looks sexy, and but then your ones, are they because of the visuals, or are they just because of a memento, or they've been there, or what's the...
There's everything, right? So like I think I've got like an Elche shirt, which is it's like their away shirt, and it's lovely, and it's black, like it's like crimson blue black kind of thing, and it's just really cool aesthetically. Like I have no interest in Elche, like couldn't tell you a single player that plays for them right now. Like it's a fucking cool shirt, and I collect football shirts. Like I don't really need to have an attachment to it, although if I can, I'd love to go get a shirt from like every place I visit, and like get all the ones that look good. So like there's a couple of football shirts every year you're looking at, you're like, yeah, that's a fucking cool shirt, I'd like that. And like I think obviously, like I could talk for days about football shirts, like the ones you got, like the Roma ones and the Atleti away ones you got, like I remember that because I know that they're the cool ones with the Nike logo, the old school Nike logo.
Yeah, retro. Yeah. So
like that's one thing when they came out on those shirts last year, I was like, yeah, that's it. I'd love one or two of those. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing. Like I'll collect anything and grab anything like that.
Right. I think that's all the pretty much questions.
Yeah.
What I was going to say, I think you've touched on it quite a lot as well. I was going to talk to you about Sunday, but we already got about how you started and you took over from your old man manager-wise and you started playing from your floor and all that. So it pretty much leaves me, the Sunday section I had built up was probably our games against each other, Jake. Do you remember too many of them? Our games against each other? I think there was one season, I was saying to Sam before we come on, I think there was one season, I think we got you in almost every bloody cup, and we played, and we had you in our league as well. We must have played each other like in the course of like 2 seasons, like 8 times or something. It was crazy.
It was pretty insane because we always play a friendly against each other as well, wouldn't we? But yeah, we got drawn in the cups and everything. Pretty funny. I remember most of them. The one that I remember, actually I don't remember it the most, but the one that sticks out in my mind was the one where the ref was one of the dads of one of our players. Jake, it's the most Sunday league thing ever.
Glad you brought this up. Go on.
Yeah, and it's Warren's dad. You know Warren. You get on well with Warren, and like yeah, like I can't remember what happened now. Like Warren got started on, and like I think someone went to headbutt him, and then so being Warren's dad, he turned around and like pushed or sparked the player, punched him. And then, like, it just started a 22-man brawl. And the worst thing was that me and you had to just stand 10 metres back, just watching it, like, for fuck's sake. Like, so I remember, like, we always came to blows, but, like, me and you would always have to stand on the side and just watch and, like, not get involved. Because it's just like...
Obviously, near the start, I think people obviously realised, like, me and Matt knew almost quite, we knew quite a few of your lads. Like, obviously, Warren being one and that, Jack and all that. But fucking hell, mate, I don't know what it was, mate. We'll probably, in terms of people wanting to play with, we were happy to see you, but I don't know what it was. It used to always spark off. But yeah, I remember that. I think something happened between Warren and one of our lads, and then his old man chinned him or something. And then, I'll tell you who it was for everybody that wants to know. Obviously, it crowded round anyway, but I remember Scott Longmere, who's Rossi's brother. He ran from our goal all the way up the pitch, right? And I just remember, I thought, I'm never going to catch him. And I just remember going, Scott, no! And then he ran away. The next thing you knew, the ref's on the fucking floor, mate. He's chinned him and it's all gone off. And I'm just standing there on the side thinking, fucking hell, we're fucked here. Like, it's all gone off, mate. Lucky enough, that was a friendly though, wasn't it? Lucky enough, that one.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That was one of the friendlies. That was one of the games where it wasn't even competitive. It was awful.
That was a pre-season friendly. That was probably one of the first games we had. But I remember do you remember we had a pre-season tournament? Us two were the final. I think we had a man sent off that game as well, which our captain, funny enough. And then you boys scored, and then I think we scored near the end of the game. And then I ain't joking, it was the longest penalty shootout I've ever seen, mate. It got boring.
Oh, no. Do you remember we had 9 men in that game because I went in goal?
No. That was the next one I was going to say. That was
right.
we put on. That was the pre-season tournament we put on, and you won the penalty shootout. And then the one you're saying was the last game we fucking ever had. And then we had 3 players. I think it was 3 players sent off, weren't there? You had 9, we had 10, and then that ended in a penalty shootout. This was a competitive game, this one. And then you ended up.
Yeah, so this was Sam. Just to put in context, I'd retired. Like this is me managing, like retired, like not playing. We had 2 men sent off in the first half, so we played like over 100 minutes with 9 men. Got to extra time and drew, and fucking Connor was up top for them, and he put 2 past me, at least 2, if not the third. And yeah, we got to penalties, and I even saved one of their fucking penalties. But then our team was so fucking shit, we missed 2 of our penalties, and they went through on penalties.
And I just say, I think if I'm right, was one of the Reds. It was your brother, Scrummy, and I've certainly clattered Addy.
Sounds about right. My brothers, their discipline is worse than mine, which is saying something. I used to get so many yellows.
I'm almost certain something happened with a tackle with Addy from memory. Addy will have to chime in on this, but I know Scrummy definitely got sent off. So yeah, so our last ever game out of all of our games ended with 3 men sent off, Sam, and a penalty shootout where Jake, as a manager, ended up in goal. So yeah, good times.
They were always eventful, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
I don't know if, like, obviously people who may be listening abroad, or Addy, who's playing Sundays in the Netherlands now, can maybe attest to this. But is there something about English Sunday League teams and English Sunday League matches that give you these unfathomable stories that you figure, no, it's fiction. It can't be. This can't be true.
I don't think if there were the 2 of us on like there is now, I don't think anyone would ever believe the first match we had when the Geezers killed the ref. Forget the players, mate. The ref copped it as well. So yeah, it's pretty.
Mate, I mean, I could tell you stories from this season alone that just like are unfathomable. Like, so this season alone, just gone, we've had 2 games where we've been reduced to 9 men. And in one of them, we lost 7-6 in a county cup game where we were like, if we'd won it, we'd gone to the quarterfinals. I'm still serving a touchline ban in our league. But I got sent off as manager, but then like I got served with a 2-game touchline ban, and we've played 3 games since then, but 2 of them have been abandoned. So we've had 2 abandoned games as well this season. So I still haven't finished my ban because they haven't counted. But these 2 games that got abandoned, one got abandoned because they got reduced to 9 men. They got 1 red card, 1 player injured, and then another player feigned injury, said he broke his ankle, refused to move, and so they had to call ambulance. So the ref had to call the game off. But they were the top of the league and unbeaten, and we were beating them 2-0. So they fobbed it off to get the game called. Jeez. Another game was a cup quarter-final against Dome Bar, as if you remember them.
Yeah.
And the game got called off in the 90th minute because they called the referee a cheat, and the referee refused to play on, even though it was like the 90th minute of a cup quarter-final. So he abandoned that game. It was just like you would not believe some of the shit we go through on a Sunday. Like, every year there is just unbelievable, ridiculous stuff. It's just ridiculous.
It's a special place Sundays, that's for sure.
Yeah. I don't know why we do it, to be honest. It's so like I love Wednesdays in comparison because it's just like turn up and it's just pure football. Like all the banter stops when it gets to the actual game time and we just play. But
before I'm quite
Sundays
curious.
Is just another level.
I'm quite curious before we move on. Like really briefly, are you able to tell us why you got a touchline ban?
It wasn't anything physical, thankfully. Like, so this was a game against another group of lads. So it's a bit of a rivalry because these lads we brought into my team. So as you know, Cal Walker, don't you?
Ethan.
Yeah. And so they have their own group of mates, and they started their own team on the back of them all finishing union. Like, you know, fair play to them. Like we sent them off with all the best wish in the world. But whenever we play them, it's quite a heated game because there's like that, like, you know, competitiveness. Yeah. Anyway. We're dicking them at this point now. I think it's like 4 or 5-2. and it's later on in the game, and the referee is he's on the league committee, so like he's got an old boy, but like he's obviously got like power, and so off the ball, one of our boys just gets booted, and he's quite he's a hard boy nut, so like he wouldn't go down unless he absolutely got wiped out, and he got put on his arse from his kick, and so that's something. The referee totally missed it, and he was looking at the ball like 10 yards away. So I started shouting at the ref, and like, the worst thing is just like being a manager, you can't get involved with anything. Like you have to set the example. You have to like really restrain yourself. So like I'm shouting at the ref, like, ref, fuck. The referee looks at me, and while that's going on the ball, the guy that's on the ball, as in scrum, my brother, he's holding the ball up in the corner, and one of their defenders is just kicking him from behind. Another defender comes in and just absolutely clears him out. Scrummy falls on top of the ball, and they've got their two centre-backs are literally just booting Scrum in the ribs. They're not even kicking the ball. So there's like 2 or 3 red card incidents within the space of 10 seconds. The referee's missed every single one of them, and a 22-man brawl starts, and the referee, all he's concerned about is me, because I've shouted F's and swears at him. So he comes over, lets the fight continue behind him, sends me off, and I'm going ballistic. Then bless my dad gets involved, because my dad can't help himself, and also because his little boy was getting kicked to shit on the pitch. So he gets involved and stands up to the ref. But the ref's so incensed by what I've done, he's like, I'm going to abandon the game unless you leave the area of the pitch now. So this is quite funny because the game was at Woodside. So if anyone knows Woodside, it's got loads of football pitches and bushes and a playground. I had to stand in the bushes just in front of the playground to watch the last 15 minutes of the game. So he didn't abandon it. And it was just insane. The worst thing was, out of all of that, so I got a red, Scrummy got a yellow. So no one else got booked apart from me and Scrummy. And I got served a two-game touchline ban, and I think we got like a £90 fine for the club for it. So
yeah, lovely. The fines always come.
Yeah, and you can't appeal it because he's a league committee member, so it's not going to get turned over. So that's a grit and bear, that one.
Jeez. And just briefly, as we're talking about kind of being
yeah, that's just another Sunday.
Yeah. As we're talking about being managers and managing Sunday, really briefly, I mean, obviously we'll come to you in more detail on another show, but can you tell us briefly like how you got into it? Because we've heard Jake's story. How did you get into managing an 11-a-side team on Sunday?
So the managing side of it alone, so I would say, obviously I played before this and all that, but I got to a point where I had a bad injury and then I weren't playing with anybody. And then, I don't know, I just had it's just a bit like this idea, Sam, doing the podcast. I was just sitting there one day, I thought, I'm going to do my own team. I said, I can do my own team. I'm just going to make my own club. I thought, how hard can it be? Not knowing a single clue about nothing.
Turned out.
Yeah, right now, yeah. So before I spoke to anybody, I actually emailed the league. I actually put some feelers out, and I thought, I'm going to find out some information, blah, blah, blah. And I remember sitting there, and I kept banging on about it at home to my missus. I said, I'm going to make a club. I'm going to make a team, blah, blah, blah. And I think one day she just lost it, and she turned around to me one day and she goes, why don't you stop talking about it and just do it? And I don't know. She probably meant it like she just had enough, like fuck off sort of thing probably, but it just triggered something in my head. I thought, you know what, I am. You know what I mean? That set me off. And then I remember the next week, I got all the boys down to the pub. And I said to the lads, I said, how about this? I said, we're going to do a team, blah, blah, blah. They went, you're fucking mad as. I said, what are you talking about? I remember Matt giving me loads of hassle about it. You're mad, mate. You ain't going to fucking do this, blah, blah, blah. Sam, I went away. I messaged so many people, mate. Before I knew it, I thought, I've got like 20 players on board here. I said, all I need to do is actually do what I've been talking about. Anyway, so long story short, I ended up getting the club, got us into the league, got us a sponsorship with the local pub, which was right next to the home pitches and the changing rooms, and there's a big car park there. So the facilities and the setup was all set up for us. And then, so I started the club, but I played the first season. And we had one guy come in, started us off, done the whole pre-season and stopped around about Christmas. I don't think we won a game, to be honest, for the first half of the year. And then the second guy come in, we started getting a few results, steadied the ship a bit more, changed a few things around. And then end of the year, he didn't want to carry on for the second season. So I still didn't want to do it, but everybody was saying, "Az, you got us all together. You do it." I said, They all wanted me to do it, and I was like, "No, I don't want to do it because I want to play, and I don't want to be seen like I'm picking myself and all that sort of stuff." So we did actually get a third guy in. So we started pre-season training with a third guy, and in the end, I thought, you know what? He started rubbing people up the wrong way. And in the end, I was getting messages saying, "Az, you got to fuck this geezer off," sort of thing. He's no good for us. Like, so all that was happening, and I was sitting there thinking, "Fucking hell, mate!" I mean, we started the second season. I've already had 2 guys gone, and now they want the third one gone. And I thought we done one more session, and in the end, he was getting a bit funny at the sessions. I thought, you know what? Fuck this, mate. You know, even I had enough at that point. I thought, I didn't put all that effort in to last one season, win like 4 games, and then wrap it up. Yeah. So in the end, I spoke to him and said, "Look, sorry, mate, it ain't working out. You're gonna have to go." And I turned around to my brother. I said, "What the fuck are we gonna do?" And Rossi was there, and Ross was like, "Well, what do you want to do, Ed?" And I said, "You know what? Fuck it, it's time." I said, "I'll fucking do it then." I said, so in the end, I took the baton. Worst thing was, it was the worst timing. It was like all the sessions before the friendlies were all gone, so I had no fucking time really. So I literally jumped in with like all the friendlies on the Sunday before the season, and like with a midweek session on a Wednesday sort of thing. Yeah. But I kind of got into it like that, and then I was managing and playing, and we had a good start, to be fair. Won a tournament in the summer, funny enough. Won all the pre-season friendlies. Thought, fucking hell, this is all right, isn't it? I thought, this is easier than I fucking thought. It was good. And then, we had a good season, to be fair. We went unbeaten, and so we went from last year not fucking winning a game, basically. I think we won like 4 games near the back end of the first season, and we went unbeaten right up until just after Christmas. But we had a tough league that year. There was, I don't know if you remember. Do you remember Amici, Jake? We had Amici.
They were never our division. Yeah, I do know. I remember them, yeah.
Yeah, we had Amici. We had Grapevine. What was the other team that was really good? Can't fucking remember now. So, but they were a year after. They were coming the year after. But so anyway, there was 3 or 4 of us, and we went unbeaten until after Christmas. The team that won it in the end, because we bottled it after Christmas, the team that won it, we beat them 1-0 at home and 2-0 away from home. So they never fucking beat us, but they ended up winning the league in the end. So anyway, so that was kind of like the general gist of how I got into it in our first year as me in charge sort of thing. So that's kind of how it happened in the end. So like I said, I got the group of lads together really, but I didn't really want to take the charge of what was happening. But anyway, that's kind of how it happened. And
it sounds like it's gone through its best spell with you in charge though.
Well, by that one season, I've been doing it ever since. So from then, I've done it up till now. So this upcoming season will be our 10th season, I think.
Sure. And so how many years have you been actually acting manager?
So this season coming will be my 9th. The only one I didn't do was the first season.
Oh wow!
It's a mug's game, isn't it, mate?
It's hard graft, mate, but it's one of them, innit? If you're not doing it, you need your fix. So you just stay in it and go through the bad times of whether they're good, I suppose. It just is what it is.
I think the worst part about doing it is actually it's like the time it takes. Like people don't realise all the admin. Like it's just like the same with Imsy we were saying the other day. Like the background work you have to do to get the club running and like, keep it running is so much. And then like also it's the commitment to the weekend. Like my girlfriend hates it because it just means you can never go away at the weekend. Like even in the summer, like you're busy with pre-season and friendlies and stuff. There's never any free time. But like, it's one thing to have a season to get home and away to Watford, right? Like I can actually fuck off an away game if I don't want to go. Home games like falling every other weekend. So like, that's not even an obstacle. It's literally Sundays block everything. Like you can't go out on a Friday night and come back on a Saturday night. Do you know what I mean? Like, it totally fucks you.
Like, you know
so many times like
I'd never realised like it does take up every Sunday, mate, and you don't realise what it actually it does affect it. It affects everything, mate. And my missus used to moan, and I used to think, oh fucking hell, mate, I'm only gone in the morning, but it ain't really, because then you're gone first thing. You're not done until say 1 o'clock sort of thing, and then you're travelling back if you're travelling, and then if you're not, you're in the boozer anyway. To be honest, after the game. And
exactly.
like, you don't realise how much it affects your actual life, to be honest. And no one realises the amount of work that goes into it to get it running. And then for my case,
the players just turn up for 2 hours and they're done. Like, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. It's easy work, mate. And you're collecting the money, sorting the pitches, paying the refs, doing the league meetings. It's a whole fucking new world, mate. Dealing with the FA, like, who else can say they've been dealing with the FA? Do you know what I mean? But funny enough, I was having a conversation with Rich earlier. Like, he didn't even realise the structure. Like, it's a real thing, mate. We deal with fucking real life FA. You got the FA, and then it's all filtered off. So you got the Hearts FA, Middlesex FA. You deal with them. You know what I mean? That's what you're doing. So yeah, it's a bit mental.
Like, I don't know about you, but like planning training sessions as well, taking your time with that, and just like dealing with the team and like getting hold of your team and then planning out your tactics and your squad and stuff. It's all bloody hassle, but yeah.
It's full on. It's full on, especially like obviously earlier days we were training a lot more and it was a lot more structured than because the commitment was there. So you can't just rock up and we'll have a kick around today, boys. It ain't like that. You got to do a proper session, and pre-season's another level again because you got, like, for us, we train on the field down here, like on the home pitches, Jake. So we got unlimited time and you got unlimited space. So you ain't gonna rock up and do fuck all. Like, you do it properly. You do it properly, like you're meant to be doing it. So yeah. So that weren't brief, but that's the run. That's a little rundown anyway on it.
But I mean, I think. Even though I asked for something brief, it's when you're so passionate about something and you dedicate so much of your life to it. And like you say, the amount of sacrifices and work you have to do towards it, it can't be just something brief. And again, hopefully we'll get to do a show on it because this is really fascinating for someone like me who's like never had really any experience of any Sunday football. It's really, really interesting. And hopefully, I certainly do, but hopefully people get a whole new level of respect for people who are organising these Sunday games. And as finally, it's all good being there for the love of football, but it's a pain in the arse. And as Jake says, it's a muggers game as well. The only people maybe stupider than you are probably the refs that want to ref the games on the Sunday.
The refs are fucking weirdos anyway, aren't they?
Yeah.
But we have got more questions for Jake. We've got more to talk about. We've got games to play. We've got quizzes to do. We've got all sorts. And we're going to be right back after this.